It was awards night for Derby County and Paul Warne and the academy squads at Derby County just last night. And I've decided that I'm going to talk about all the awards that are given out, give my opinions on the players who win them. We're going to talk through each and every award. I'm going to let you know my thoughts, feelings. Let me know yours down in the comments. Do you think the people that deserved recognition got recognition? We're going to focus mainly on the men's team. I don't particularly know enough about the women's side of things to be able to give a full-blown opinion. However, they did win a trophy at the weekend, so congratulations to them. So let's get right into it, starting off with the first winner, Khace Gordon, the Academy Player of the Year. So Khace Gordon is a player who I had the joy of watching develop in the 22-23 season. I was fortunate enough to have an internship period with Derby County through my university degree, which I'm finishing this year. And he's a player who stood out. There's a lot of players who stood out in Derby County's academy, to be completely honest with you. And this is something which doesn't really surprise me. Ultimately, a player who, at the time when I was there, played right fullback, left fullback, or as wing backs of part of a back five system. Ultimately, very good player. Got obviously a long way to develop before he hits the first team. There's a number of players who have won this award in previous years who have made it onto the first team. Is he going to be another one? Potentially. I do believe he is the brother of Kellan Gordan, another former Derby County Academy product, and even Khace Gordon, who's now at Liverpool. Obviously, he's not had the past few years that he'd have wanted, but Khace Gordon, keeping that Gordon name going well through the academy, and he's obviously had a stellar year in the academy to win this award. It's a very prestigious award at Derby County. Next up is Dajaune Brown. Now, I think this was an obvious choice, really, to become Scholar of the Year. He's been in and around the first team for the majority of that first half of the season. He's gone on loan to Gateshead for the second half of the season, where he's put in some unbelievable performances. He's scored a couple of hat-tricks down there. He's got multiple goals in his period there, and ultimately he's been very unlucky, really, because he could have had a playoff campaign. Now, I do believe that Gateshead are appealing the decision made by the EFL to reject the because they don't have, I believe it's the contracting rights for a stadium for the next 10 years, which is part of going up to the EFL, and unfortunately that means that Dajaune Brown won't get the opportunity in the playoffs, and it is unfortunate. Hopefully it can be rectified, but it isn't looking likely at the moment. Coming away with Scholar of the Season after the year he's had, not just with the 23s and the first team, obviously making his debut for the first team in the EFL Trophy and then in the league as well. He's had a very good year, a year he'll be very, very proud of. Another player who I had the joy of watching throughout the 18s and 21s last season for the 22-23 season while I was there. And he was always a standout, a very good performer, and ultimately is where he is now because he works hard, and hopefully Paul Warne will give him an opportunity to seal the deal and get himself a regular first team opportunity. If we go up to the Championship, I do think he'll go back out on loan. I think it would ultimately be the correct decision to do that because obviously he's grown really well during his time at Gateshead, getting himself to prove himself that he knows how to get into a first team and stay in the first team. And I think he's done excellently down there, up there, whatever you want to say. But ultimately, very deserving of this award. And then Joe Wildsmith, save of the season for his save versus Bolton Wanderers. Now, very, very good save. And ultimately, if we go up on Saturday, that save is one that essentially has sent us up because it took 2 points off Bolton in the end because it was probably going for a 0-0 draw at that point, and ultimately it could have given Bolton all 3 points if he doesn't make that save. And in the end, we take the win from that game, and I think a lot of people don't recognise how well Wildsmith has played this season because he's had a few iffy games. You could argue Oxford United away, obviously those a few mental minutes. The Peterborough, some people give him a bit of stick for the second and third goal. Ultimately, I didn't agree. I spoke about that when I did the reviews of those games. But ultimately, if he keeps a clean sheet on Saturday, that's 50% clean sheet record this season. Obviously, it's not purely down to Joe Wildsmith. He's obviously had a brilliant back three, back five, whatever he's had in front of him have also done really, really well as well. But ultimately, he's had a very good season in goal, well deserving of save of the season. I do believe that Bolton Wanderers save was absolutely magnificent and a season-defining save. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments if there's any other saves which you remember were ultimately very good. I keep saying ultimately. I need to stop saying that. But very good very good for Joe Wildsmith to take home this award. Very deserving of it, and that save was absolutely magnificent. Ebou Adams, 1 goal this season since joining, and what a revelation he's been in the midfield. Obviously didn't come in for his goals or his assists, but obviously that goal against Blackpool, what a strike it was. An unbelievable finish at the end of the day, and it's even better when goals like that end up being winning goals, and that's what it turned out to be on that day. A 1-0 win versus Blackpool, a really, really good finish. And there's only really a couple of other goals which I could potentially have even put up against this. Obviously, there's the James Collins volley, which I believe was against Barnsley, where he sort of side kicked it in, which I thought was a really good goal. You've obviously got the Barcaden goal where they play it through midfield. Barcaden steps over it, lets it go, and then a cross comes into the box. Barcaden slots it away. That was a really good goal. You've obviously got a couple of decent Mendes-Lang goals. Sibley scored a few decent goals as well this season. But I would probably agree that Ebou Adams deserved goal of the season. Very good goal versus Blackpool. Very important goal as well. And to take on a shot like that just shows the level of confidence that he's got instilled in him since joining Derby County. Very, very good goal. Let me know down in the comments if there's any goals which you just said should have potentially been above it. I personally think it was the right decision to give it to Ebou Adams, though. Obviously, James Collins, top goal scorer. Brilliant season from him. And after last season with David McGoldrick, he left a hole of 25 goals. And not many people thought James Collins would take up the role and take up the mantle of being the main man, but he's done a very good job this season. I do believe he's only got something like 9 open play goals, though. Not that it matters, because every goal equals the same. But he's had a very good season, scored some very good goals at times. He's worked hard. He's deserved his place in the team. And ultimately, he has been the best finisher this season. And he got that run of games, which he didn't really get last season. And that's where I think his confidence came from, and his run of goals did eventually come from. He's 2 goals away from 18, 2 goals away from 20 for the season, sorry. And I'm hoping this weekend he gets his 2, because I think he deserves a 20-goal season to show for his performances this year. I do think at times people don't give him the credit he deserves, because obviously he's more of a workhorse than a proper number 9, if that makes sense. He does a lot of the pressing, a lot of the doggy work, which people don't really acknowledge or want to acknowledge. But ultimately, very, very good season from James Collins to come away as top goal scorer. I don't think anybody can debate this one. Eiran Cashin, young player of the season, a player who in September could have ended up at Brighton at the end of the transfer window, but ultimately it didn't go through on time, and he ends up staying. He signs a new contract till I believe 2027, which is unreal for the club to keep his services until 2027. Now, obviously, if we don't go up this season, I do think he'll end up moving on. But we saved his value, and it was 4 million with a year left. So what's he going to be with 2 or 3 years left on his contract? That's a completely different conversation. If we go up to the Championship, I don't think he's going anywhere. Very, very good performer this season, and got himself into the League One team of the season as well. I personally think he should have been in the running for League One Young Player of the Season. I'm not entirely sure the rules. Maybe he's too old. I think he's 22. I thought it was up to 23. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. For me, I think he should have been on that list. But he wasn't. He goes and takes the Young Player of the Season award. I think it's 2 years in a row he's taken this now. And for a player who nearly left in the COVID season, nearly left just before we went into administration as well, he's really shown those coaches and those staff that make those decisions that they did make the right decision to keep him in the end. And he's had a very good season, and he's had a lot to show for his development, really. And a lot of that falls back onto Wayne Rooney. Obviously, Rooney wanted him starting in that administration season, but we just weren't able to register him until, I believe it was like mid-November. Might have been a bit earlier than that. Mid-November, mid-October, something along those lines. I think he made his debut against West Brom, and he gets a yellow card within the first five minutes or something. And since then, he's just come from strength to strength, and he's been a brilliant addition to the squad. And coming through the academy, that's exactly what you want. Now, Curtis Nelson comes home with 2 awards: Players Player of the Season and Fans Player of the Season. I'm a bit... if you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen I put out a tweet about feeling a bit sorry for Nathaniel Mendez-Laing, and it's not that I don't think Curtis Nelson deserved the award. It's more that I think Nathaniel was in a bad period. We was 15 points off the top of the league. I think after Stevenage was about 9 points off automatic promotion, if not a couple more, and we were nowhere. And after that, Nathaniel Mendez-Laing turned it on and carried us sort of into that automatic promotion race. Obviously, there was a lot of other players involved in that run as well, but Nathaniel Mendez-Laing seemed to be the consistent shining light during that period. And obviously, Curtis Nelson is a very deserving winner. I just want to make that clear. I do think that, but I do feel that Nathaniel Mendez-Laing deserved something this awards night after his incredible season. I believe he's broken the assist record, is our top goal contributor, I believe, as well this season. One of the top contributors in League One as well, which is fun. Like when you think of the numbers that Harrison Burrows has put up and Karamako Dembele and some other players in this league, it's very good to see. And then you've got other wingers like Abu Kamara who haven't even put up similar numbers to Nathaniel Mendez-Laing. But ultimately, Curtis Nelson comes away with both awards. And I think Paul Warne puts it best: if the players vote you the best player, you are. And simply put, I do think Curtis Nelson is probably one of the standout performers from this season, going about his business quietly. And in the end, he got the recognition from the fans after there was a lot of dubiousness about his signing. He was classified in the Championship's worst 11 last season, and he came in off the back of a poor run at Blackpool, I think it was, where he was on loan second half of last season. And there wasn't really much high hopes. There was a lot more hope on Sonny Bradley, who turned out to, up until recent weeks, not really be effective this season. Was very disappointing originally as the season started out. Both Curtis Nelson and Sonny Bradley started off with some mistakes in those early games, and ultimately games which cost us the title. But if we do still get promoted, they can obviously hang their hands on a very impressive season. Now, you let me know your thoughts down in the comments about Curtis Nelson as Player of the Year. Do you think he should have got it? Who else would you have put? Because for me, I think it's got to have been close between Nelson and Nathaniel Mendez-Laing. Maybe even Ebou Adams, because since he came in, he's been an absolute revelation in midfield. But for me, Curtis Nelson, very deserved winner, as I keep saying. I don't want people to think I don't think he deserves it, because he has been an incredible defender for us this season, put his body on the line on numerous occasions, and a very, very deserving winner. Now, we've gone through all the awards for the 2023-24 season. I think some very, very deserved winners. I think some people were unlucky to miss out on awards. Ultimately, Eiran Cashin, the only one really who deserved that Young Player of the Season award, being essentially an ever-present bar a couple of games. And I think everybody this season has had a very good year, but ultimately the job isn't done. The job will be finished on Saturday if Derby avoid defeat versus Carlisle at Pride Park, and that is what we need to do. That is how we're going to end this season. So let's see what Derby can do on Saturday. My full match preview will be out tomorrow. My League One preview will be out on Friday. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that. Just before we end this video, I just want to say a big thank you for all the support on the channel recently. We've had a magnitude of new subscribers and have recently hit 500 subscribers, and I can't thank you all enough for the support we've had on the channel since I started back in November. I didn't anticipate it to get this much traction this quickly, but once again, thank you very much. If you do want to help out this channel and help continue the channel to grow, make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button down below or in this top corner up here. Share it with all your friends and anyone you know who's a League One or Championship fan, football fan, and yeah, let's see if we can hit 1,000 by Christmas. Let's see what we can do on this channel, and I'll catch you in the next part of the video. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.